Hey everyone, as the title says, I work at a 24-hour movie theater. Recently, a strange turn of events has me reconsidering my current occupation. You see, I work during the graveyard shift from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Now, other than this theater being open 24/7, everything is the same. However, there are rules to the night shift that we have to abide by. I can remember the first night on the job when my boss, Tiaman, showed me the ropes. Reminded me that there are steps to cleaning and shutting down the bathrooms and how to clean these screening rooms between movies. He took me to his office to show me a set of rules that we must follow. Okay, Andre, we have a set of rules that you must always stick to. And if they're not followed, it'll be the cause for termination. And Taman said sternly, I'll have zero issues following those. I spoke with extreme enthusiasm. Well. Looks like you want to work, so okay. Let's go over them then. He spoke in a happier tone. Rule number 1. When it becomes 3 a.m., you must close down all the bathrooms until 4 a.m. Rule number 2. When cleaning out the theater, the light has to be on, and you must finish before the screen turns black. Rule number 3. If a man without a face walks in, you are not to speak to him for any reason. Rule number 4. All of the staff must enter the lobby at 3 a.m. and stay there until 4 a.m. Rule number 5. If you see someone talking to a man without a face, do not attempt to stop them and look away. Rule number 6. Do not attempt to film or record anything that goes on here. Now that we've gone through all of the rules, is there anything that you need from me? He said nonchalantly. No, I think I'm good. I spoke, swallowing my nerves. He smiled at me, and he escorted me out of the office, and then he left the theater. I instantly got to work, cleaning the front room while a person named Cynthia taught me the ropes. She was a very nice girl and she had been there for years. Hey, it's almost 3 a.m. We need to go close down the bathroom and then head to the lobby. Let me show you how. She seemed a little bit nervous as she said this. I followed closely behind her as we made our way over to the bathroom. The only strange thing is how the bathrooms have deadbolts that are kind of hidden on the outside. Okay, now first we knock 3 times and crack the door open and then ask if anyone is in there. She takes a deep breath and she knocks 3 times on the door. Anyone there? Custodians, we need to clean the bathroom at this time. She listened closely and heard someone say, yes, I'm almost done. A woman's voice could be heard in the background. Oh, well, okay, thank you. She looked hurried and looked down at her watch, seeing the time clicking closer to 3 a.m. At the time, it was 2:57 a.m., and I could see Cynthia getting more and more on edge as the time got closer. Oh, crap. It's 1 minute until 3 a.m. and she still hasn't flushed. We need to lock the door now. Right when she reaches for the hidden deadbolt, the woman came out and says, sorry, and then walks to the theater down the right. Cynthia quickly locks the door and breaks out as a sigh of relief. Oh, thank God she got out of there. It was just then that we heard a scream in the bathroom. Another woman was still in there. Yo, what are we doing? We gotta help her. I shouted as I reached for the deadbolt, but I was abruptly stopped by Cynthia, who had grabbed my hand and pushed me away. "Hey, what the heck are you?" I exclaimed out loud until I was cut off. "Listen to me now, and listen carefully. We cannot open this door. If we decide to, you and I will die. No, come on. We gotta get to the lobby." She said this with fear in her eyes, and she pushed me towards the lobby. In the background, I could still hear the unknown woman screaming out loud, as if she was fighting for her life. I could hear the screams even in the lobby, but when it became 3:30, the screaming stopped, with the sound of tearing flesh and breaking bone. For the first time, I felt a primal fear. The idea that someone was being torn to shreds made me feel like I didn't want to be there anymore. I slowly started walking towards the doors when it walked in. Standing in front of me was a man about 8 feet tall, wearing a suit and a bowler hat. He had no face, no eyes, ears, mouth, or even a nose. He looked at me and then looked at the front desk and continued walking. We briefly stopped at the front desk and placed 5 human fingers made of gold on the counter. He waited for the cashier to hand him what looked like a movie ticket made of pure light. He walked down the hallway before a customer was walking down the same hallway, and they didn't seem to even notice him. I decided to take a look around the corner and follow him with my eyes. He stopped in front of a picture on the wall, and he walked through it. I can hear everyone taking a deep breath. Cynthia pulled me to the side to speak with me privately. "Okay, so I need you to be able to keep a promise. You and I are going to clean the bathroom, but you cannot say a word about this to anyone or anything. What you see here stays here. Got it?" She looked at me with a fierce determination. Yeah, I promise. Of course, that was a complete, utter lie. She and I got to the bathroom, and she took a deep breath and shakingly opened the door. As the door swung open, the smell hit me like a ton of bricks. The smell of rusty iron filled the air, and I could taste the blood as it pooled in the back of my throat. I was gagging before Cynthia handed me a filter mask, which seemed to solve the problem for the time being. We made our way inside with a pair of buckets and mops. The horror that I saw before me was nigh unspeakable. Blood and viscera covered the walls with bits and pieces of it hanging from the ceiling. The red on the floor was draining into the drain on the floor. I held back my vomit as we mopped up the remains of the woman. This almost took 2 hours to complete. Cynthia kept trying to tell me jokes to break the ice and to get my mind off the idea that I was cleaning a person off the floor. I don't remember much during it, as I was disassociating hard, maybe to distance myself from the messed up situation. We were about done when something walked out of the stall. A tall woman with white eyes and an unnaturally large smile. She looked at me and Cynthia while smiling. I could see red on her teeth, and her teeth were also very sharp looking. She bent down toward me slowly while she was doing, so I could hear her bones creaking and popping in and out of place. This woman, this thing spoke to me. "Oh, honey, I'm sorry for all this mess. Hope you have a wonderful night now." She laughed a little. As she was walking out, she had to crouch low to clear the doorway. I never saw her after this. Cynthia looked at me in shock, and I could see the sweat bead down on her forehead. You are so lucky that she didn't kill you," she blurted out in relief. "What? What do you mean?" I blurted back in response. "She is one of the regulars, a set of beings who never speak to us and are extremely dangerous. Once people who they speak to or who speak to them, they kill and devour on the spot. The reason that we lock the door is to keep anyone from speaking to her, as she always appears here at 3 a.m. For some reason, she didn't want to eat you." I was in shock and I couldn't speak. I had almost died. Why was I ignored? These things rang through my head, and I lost track of the time, and before I knew it, Cynthia was snapping at my face. "Hey newbie, you there?" She sounded upset. "Oh, yeah, what happened?" I asked. "Oh, not much. You decided to black out, but I got the rest cleaned up. I understand this job pays well, but there's some messed up stuff that goes down here." She laughed a little as she wrung the mop out, and a flood of crimson liquid poured into the bucket. Cynthia and I started to walk to the first theater on the left, and we waited for the customers to leave. They were watching the new Marvel movie, and I could hear the ending credits rolling. Surprisingly, no one stayed for the inevitable end credit scene, but I wasn't going to question it. We walked in and we tried to clean up as fast as possible. It was almost 5 minutes when the screen went black, and we could hear the film slowly shutting off. The sound of the lights shutting down one by one echoed through the theater. "Run! Get out!" Cynthia screamed in fear and sprinted past me. I didn't question, I just ran. All of a sudden, she had tripped and started to scream and cry. No, I don't want to die." It was then that I saw a tall, pale humanoid being crawl out of the screen. This figure bolted towards Cynthia, knocking me down in the process. I could see this thing crawling over her body. It quickly covered her mouth with some of its flesh, and I saw that it slowly started to meld with Cynthia. It pressed its body against Cynthia slowly, absorbing her almost. The pain and fear in her eyes showed how much she was terrified. I couldn't move. It was as if my fight or flight response was completely broken, and my body wasn't sure what to do. All of Cynthia was inside of this thing, and then twitched his head towards me and slowly moved toward me. It stopped in front of me, staring at my eyes. It felt like a century had passed while we had locked eyes. It then looked toward the film screen and started to crawl back into it as the lights began to flicker back on. It was only but a few minutes later when I could hear customers immediately mindlessly shambling into the theater. It was only 30 minutes before I could clock out, so I decided to go to the bathroom and sit in the toilet to take a breather. I didn't know how to process these things, and in no time, I heard my phone buzzing at the time. It was finally 7 a.m. Time to leave. I ran to the clock to sign out, and I had never been so relieved to go home, and before I could leave the front door, Tim had walked in and stopped me. How was your first night?" "Where's Cynthia?" he asked. She's gone. She was attacked by the thing in the movie screen." Looking back at this was all that I could say. It was a nightmare, but oddly enough, he looked at me seriously and said, Well, that's no good. So, you were able to make it out, huh?" he asked as he had scratched his head. No, not really. I fell and the thing just stared at me after, absorbing Cynthia," I said while trying to hold back my feelings. "You survived. Interesting. Well, hey, kiddo, what if I told you that I'm going to promote you and triple your wage if you stay working here? I'll do it starting tomorrow, too." He spoke with confidence and grandiose. Let me sleep on it. Is that okay?" I need to get home and get some rest, I had said shakingly. Oh, of course. Sleep it off and come on back. We will be eagerly waiting. He waved me off and I started to walk back toward home. I got home and I immediately vomited. I had never been so terrified in my life. The money is going to be amazing, but I don't know if I want to die. But it doesn't seem like I would. Tell me, have you ever seen the devil? I feel like last night that I have, and anyways, stay safe out there, people, for you may never know what is lurking in the shadows.